So in staging Richard's physicality, right, I'm going to tap two Richards, okay? So I'm going to tap Gus as our Richard of Gloucester over here, okay? And I am going to tap Peter as our Richard of Gloucester over here. Now these are our actors, right? Our actors have no say in the physicality.
Ooh. Yes.
That means
Think.
your team, right, has to direct the Richard. Okay? So if you can take one, pass it. Right? Take one, pass it around. What you have on these slips of paper, okay? And you can take, actually take two. I'm sorry, take two. Take two. You either have a word or a phrase from Anne.
No, she said take two.
Right?
She said take two.
Take two. I'm sorry. I redirected myself. If that was confusing. Okay. Who is Anne? No. In relationship to this play, you may look at your notes. You have them in front of you.
Richard's wife.
I heard it.
Richard's wife.
Richard's wife, right? But what do we know that's interesting about their relationship? I heard it.
Well, we killed her later on.
Well, later he is suggested that he's responsible for her death. But what do we know about before their marriage? Look at your notes, please. Anne, Lynn.
He killed her husband.
He killed her husband.
Oh, right.
And does she know it?
Yeah.
Yes. And then he convinces her to marry him.
Who does that?
Like over his dead body.
Literally.
Literally over his dead body. So this is a weird relationship. Now, you have Anne. You also have lines from Margaret, right? And what do we know about Margaret from 1-3, Christine? She curses people, specifically Richard, right? And then you have some lines from Richard himself about his own deformity, right? So I'm going to give you 5, so read your 2 lines. If you have extra, if you have 3, that's great. And what I'd like is for Gus to stand over there by the board. And then Peter, you can stand right here, right? And you have your lines. So you have now is the winter of our discontent. You have your opening monologue. Pick it up. All right, so direct your man about his physicality. You have 5 minutes, and then you're going to work through the monologue with him. Any questions? All right, go.
I have a very specific one.
No, they're
He has a lump like an envious mountain on his
tell you what to do.
I got a lump like a spell.
So how should he stand?
Well,
Somewhere.
You need to have a hunchback.
And strong him at
I have a jacket.
Stuff like a tissue in your jacket.
Put that somewhere.
He insists on in every part, so you have to be.
And folks, talk louder.
And then it's so I guess behold my arms like a
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, you suck that under any.
That is not a lump. That is.
So then what?
it's behold mine arm is like elastic. So like
No, you should like take your.
Oh, well, it's already stretched out. What is in here?
You don't need that. It's like
works.
Oh, like that.
Remember, the physicality has to be linked to the language. All right, so make sure that you have an argument as to why you're doing X, Y, or Z.
Okay, and then this one says he is disproportionate in every part.
Wait,
You can model it for your actor. Get up on your feet. Show him how. Show him how. Move his body. Charlie, you're good. You're helping him out.
Quote, Doss read me, hedgehog.
Oh, move the lump to like his
Strike his face
Back.
in the middle of his back.
Yeah, it's like.
I think it'd be
That better not be sweaty when I go back.
I'm not. No, it's not as sweet. My hands might.
What else?
There you
Not
go.
stay. Okay, no, that would work.
Yeah, throw that.
fish oil.
That'll work great.
1 minute. You have 1 minute to choose the physicality.
Alright. What?
His trunk is the shape.
Oh, that is a bag right there. Oh, no, I made it bigger.
Bigger?
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
That's fine.
Alice, what do you?
He just had
That's a computer.
He's hired a bunch of
Alright, so it says that you're a diffused infection of a man, so maybe you should sound very sickly.
Yeah.
Like maybe not too sickly.
Wait, what's that?
Not all good.
Man, so it's like basically calling
Proportionate in every part.
I have another one. Thou, elvish mark of the border, thou was sealed in thy nativity, the slave of nature, and the son of hell.
Yeah.
Let it fly.
Mine also says that
So we'll put that up there when time comes.
Alright, freeze! Freeze means cut or stop at any time. Keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Okay, alright, next stage of the process. Now that you've decided on a physical form for your Richard, right, you have to consider how your Richard delivers this opening monologue, right? So there is an argument, and actually Matt shared it with us last week, that Dr. Bartels presented to him, that Richard not only manipulates language, but he manipulates his physical form, right? How and why would you manipulate your physical form?
Well, to gain sympathy, just gain sympathy. So, like, the worse he looks, the more people feel bad for him with his words.
Yeah, right? And if he needs people to believe in him or be confident, right, that he can lead, what might change?
He might try to carry himself taller to look more imposing.
Yeah, maybe change his posture, right? Maybe when he has a certain resolve, maybe his body shifts, right? So that's something to think about when you stage this monologue. So what I'd like for you to do is your Richards now have their physical form. They are going to read for you, and with discretion, as they read, you can cut or freeze on them and redirect them kindly, right? Understood? Because I overheard Ben, and Ben said something about his voice. What did you direct Peter about voice?
Well, Anne called him a diffused infection of a man. So I wanted him to sound like, I think it'd be cool if he sounded like sickly almost, at the beginning at least. Because I think it could be, like, I don't want to wear it out.
Yeah.
But to start off, I think it'd be cool if he just kind of wheezed on the stage.
Yeah. But something that Ben also said, be with us, Tyler, hold on. You're going to have a second to direct Gus in a moment. This is going to be their shining moments. But he said not too sickly, right? You said sick, but not too much. Because if you overdo it, right, you don't necessarily get buy-in, right? And then you have the shift. So you have to think about that it's accurate to the text, right? But you don't beat it down. All right, are you ready? Okay, so Richard, ready to read?
Yes.
Okay, so practice for your group. No, you practice for your group first. In your corner, in the front here, your corner, I suppose. And you have a few minutes to begin rehearse. Remember, you can cut and freeze on your actor and redirect if necessary. Remember the 3 parts of the speech. Okay, begin.
Everybody start reading.
But
You gotta walk in. So how do you want me to read?
Just take up 2 steps and go.
Hug something up.
Now is the winter of our discontent. Made glorious summer by the sun of York.
Wait, just do it right now how you want to do it, and then we'll do it
honestly,
from
this
there.
time.
How you
I
see
think
it,
that
and then from
like
there
every
we'll.
few words, you sort of like have to take a breath, because if
So
you're
it's-
sickly, then that probably means
Take
you're
a
not
leg.
easy or something like that.
Don't leave with that, no pun intended.
What?
That's good.
Don't like.
Now is winter of our discontent.
What a great way to start a tragedy.
Glorious by the son of York, and all the clouds,
glorious by the son of York.
and lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our burrows with vicious wreaths, now bruised arms, hung for a monument, are stern. Alarms charged, glaring.
No, you cannot make every tragedy oriented.
I think instead of like having trouble breathing, just like every once in a while take like a pause for a deep breath. Not like a struggle one. Like emphysema. And I think
That's not like
Yeah.
And now instead of mounting bombs,
that was the winter
try to
box.
hold
like once you start talking about your disability.
competent
Yeah, it just gets like super dark.
ladies' chamber to the serious pleasing of a lead. But I
If you start Richard sitting,
don't make you watch
try the first
average licking
third
ass.
of the speech sitting.
I
See what compels you to get up.
and wine
Because from the beginning, right, do we know anything about Richard in those first 12 lines,
fair proportion.
right? We don't know about this other than what we can see.
I was gonna say, like, it might be a good idea that if you try and you try and carry yourself at the beginning like more normal, I guess, so that when you finally stand up and you're actually deformed, it comes as more weight because people are like, oh, like you didn't really realize like it's that bad.
Correct. And because he plays that the entire time, right? So let's try.
Off to the side so you can't see the arm or whatever.
Why peace.
Yeah, like just keep it to the side so like you can't really see. Yeah. So then finally when you stand up, you can like.
Sorry, Quasi.
turn.
Hold on.
Hey.
I think you should be like kingly.
Just be like happy.
Just
about
kind of
it.
like raise your posture a little bit more confident.
Yeah, come on, chill, Rich. You got a lot to live for.
Okay. Yeah. Now is the winter of our discontent. Made glorious by the Son of York.
I did it.
Okay, cut. Peter's just kidding. Okay, all right.
It's not gonna be a problem.
What did you notice about coaching your Richard through this monologue?
Very fun.
About the physicality. What did you notice? Not about the difficulty level, like what considerations did you have to make, right, when directing this actor? You had to make a lot of considerations. Sarah.
Well, a lot of things were kind of just like given to us without, not wanting them, but it was very obvious, like when it says an envious mountain, like a lump like an envious mountain, like you gotta put a lump.
You gotta
So,
put a lump. Who says lump like an envious mountain?
It was Richard.
Richard. So Richard gives us that insight to his physicality, right? It manifests itself, right? Right here. Okay, excellent. Give me more. Other things you need to consider. Lynn.
Well, I had a comment about like how Richard sees himself.
Correct.
Maybe, what if we went in a direction, like maybe there was a lump, but it wasn't as bad as he like said it was, but he's still like deformed, but maybe people aren't as disgusted by his appearance as they are by his personality.
Huh. Very interesting. That's a character development you might see more and more throughout the play. That's very good insight.
People are repulsed by his personality, but he misinterprets it.
So that's something that you need to decide as a director, right?
Like Dorian Gray thing, the more
Right.
bad he does, the more deformed he gets.
Yeah, well, it's little Peter with the Dorian Gray reference. Wow.
We're gonna be
Other,
professional speakers.
you are, you're Shakespeare scholars. Craig.
So he has this big like hump, so he needs to be bent over. He's obviously not going to have great posture.
Think about also considerations. Be with me. Kata, do you have a consideration?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I consider like how he gets his message across when he's like deformed like that, like how he's gonna like say the words because they're important for us to like
Yeah.
hear.
To hear, in terms of like
Distraction
pausing,
by his look.
breathing, so that we're not just focused on the physical form, right?
Yeah.
Because when you see someone with a disability, right, and you see them standing there, what do you look at first?
Their disability.
The disability, the physical form, right? You're trying to understand it because it's different. So as a director, right, as an actor, this is very important to the backstory of this character. But you don't want it to be distracting. You have to leverage it for the character and develop the character so that it's moving you through the story, right? So his disability makes him very able in this play. Right. Other considerations you have to make in terms of props and costuming. What could you develop? What else could you add? A cane, right? Maybe a cane. Maybe there is a cast. Maybe there is a sling. Maybe there is something that this person has a brace, that they're wearing a brace the entire time. I'm just, all of a sudden I had an image of, anybody seen Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
Remember Forrest Gump, he has the magic legs? Magic legs? You know? And the braces he has on there. I mean, you could do that. There are so many things, right, that you can add to develop this character. And I'm using like Peter as my model here, look at this. But also, Gus over here, please. Right now, I want you both stand up, and then Craig on camera. And we're just gonna model our Richard, okay? And we're both going to say, now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the son of York. Got it? Ready?
Do we get into our positions, or do we
So,
just stand up?
I'd like for you to get into your position. So right now, just stand as Peter, stand as Gus. Ready? Now I want you to stand as your troops, Richard.
Okay.
Now, stand as, oh yeah, fix your backs. Okay, freeze. Just take it in. And I want you to read the opening line. Richard, Peter.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the son of York.
Thank you. Richard, Gus.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the son of York and all the clouds. Is that it?
That's just that.
Okay.
Which word, right, from that opening line would you like stressed? You may stand as yourself. So, discontent,
Glorious summer.
glorious summer.
Winter.
This is interesting. Like, we don't want to stress every single word. You're like,
Now is the glorious summer.
like every word. Ready?
Well, I know Peter did it, and it kind of seemed like Gus did too, but our.
Yes. So we did it together. Ready? Be our Richards. Ready? 3, 2, 1, Richards. All right. All right. Now, right, is the winter of our discontent. Ready? Peter.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
So very, what did you notice about his reading?
Very strong.
Very strong. Right? And so, but if you look at our Richard and modeling our Richard, modeling, right? Right now. Even notice his legs, right? One is affected. His arm, right? Like this tree sapling here. Whatever it might be. No, it's actually a line from the play. We have this hunchback here, but a very strong voice. Isn't that interesting? Right, all right, Peter, you may return to Peter. All right, Gus, I want you to read your line. Just now is the winter of our discontent.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
Again, stress our.
Our. You said like hour, like H.
Correct, continue.
Now is sorry, 1 second. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Now is the winter of our discontent.
Ooh. Gus, what'd you notice about his reading?
He stressed a lot of words.
Yeah.
There's also like, I like how he like started like between discontent.
You gotta spat it out.
He's kind of just
Yeah.
like trudging through that sentence there
Yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah. Very interesting, right? Because both I thought were rather aggressive, right? What if you took it the total opposite way? Right, and you may sit. Right. And he's sitting. Right, and he's calm. right? And you may return whenever your Richard's sitting. But that's, think of it this way. If you had your Richard sitting, right? You don't see his physicality to begin. Be with me. What effect does that have then on the scene, the opening monologue? And he takes it slow, right? Right. Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York. Does he like this son of York? No. So, like, there are a lot of big cat had these big eyes, like no. So he's not going to say that, like, made glorious summer by the son of York, right? He's not happy about it, right? It's the winter of the discontent, the unhappiness, right? So it's not good. So what effect does it have if you have him sitting, right, as opposed to focusing on his physicality? Kristen.
Well, it like appears that you have someone who's completely in control and almost like a position of power.
Yeah, he's controlled. If he's sitting, he's in a position. Interesting that you say position in power of sitting, because usually we think power standing. Sarah?
I feel like if you have him sitting, people, well, if you don't see the deformity, people would wonder kind of like, why is he so sad? But if he had it, I feel like people are so quick to jump to assume that people with deformities like are always sad.
Yeah.
So I feel like otherwise you would just assume like that's why he's so upset, if you could see it.
Jeremiah?
Kind of like jumping on like the idea of like a position of power is like it could vary wildly, like the opinion, depending on what kind of like seat they're sitting on. Like if it looks kind of like a throne, then you can see how they're in a position of power as opposed to like a stool.
Yeah.
Which would be different.
Correct. Lynn?
I would say depending on the words, some of the words that he would stress, you could probably say that even though his tone is calm, he sounds slightly bitter, especially when he says son of York.
Yes. Right. There are so many decisions you have to make in this opening monologue to set the scene and to set the tone and the feel of Richard III, right? Because so much happens in this play. And Richard reveals that to you time and time again, right? But you need to try to understand his backstory, right? So take one, pass it, next piece here. Actually, just pass these two. I'm not counting. Just take one, pass it. The following.
Could they please, Christian Monaco, to athletics at the end, please?
Okay. The following excerpt is from King Henry VI, Part 3. And it is a description, because remember we're in the history plays, of the night that Richard III was born. Okay. And thus I prophesy. Read end punctuation. Kick it, Peter.
That many 1,000 shall rue the hour that ever thou wast born.
The owl shrieked at thy birth, an evil sign.
The night crow cried, a boding luckless time.
Dogs howled and hideous tempests shook down trees.
The raven rooked purr on the chimney top, and chattering pies in dismal discord sung.
Thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth less than a mother's hope.
Continue.
To wit, an indigested and deformed lump, not like the fruit of such a goodly tree.
Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou canst to bite the world.
That last line. Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou camest to bite the world.
Bite me.
Right? So I'm gonna give you partner. Justin Luke, partners. Craig and Mara, partners. Then I'm gonna hold on to you there. Okay, what I'd like for you to do is, I'd like for you to stay with your partner, right? One freeze frame from this night. A freeze frame, a tableau. You have 1 minute, so pick one image, like a tableau. So if I were going to be shocked at something, I would freeze me. The other person has to also respond, like a tableau. So if you look at something, the picture is a living picture. The comic. All right, go. You have 1 minute.
Are we reading it?
Yes.
And then after,
You're just picking one group of lines. Be with me. I'm gonna explain to you.
I'll be like,
Give me your attention in 3, 2, 1. A tableau. We've done these before. It's a freeze frame. We did it a lot in Greek drama, right? It's a standing picture. So if I were to, right, threaten Peter, right, and he is scared, right, I might, this is the freeze frame. Maybe that's Margaret cursing Richard, right? I want you to pick an image from this night, freeze frame it. 1 minute, go.
What about like the owl? There's an owl, right? Yeah.
So maybe it's a group of lines. Find a group of
Hanging
lines.
out like on a thing and then in and out. And then it's just like Richard's team.
I think we have to show like the same looking over my shoulder.
It could be a group of lines. It's probably maybe a group of 4 lines. Stand up and move. Up.
That's my idea.
What if show like
Run with your first idea. Put it on its feet.
Okay, so.
yeah.
We'll realize these check out that.
What if you had like
So what do we?
Give me a second. And you just look off.
Okay, are you ready? Everyone, please rise in your freeze frame. The night that Richard was born.
No, you're Richard. I'm the owl.
On your feet.
Owl doesn't have the teeth.
Smother my child.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Freeze. Okay. All right, I'm going to come around and I'm going to go to your freeze frame and you're then going to read us the line. Okay? All right. So we're starting with Gus. We're going around the world so you can watch them. You guys with me? This should only take us a minute. And 3, 2, 1.
To wit, an undigested and deformed lump, not like the fruit of such a godly tree. Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou camest to bite the world.
And yet thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth more than a mother's hope, to wit, an indigested and deformed lump, not like the fruit of such a godly tree.
Ready? 2 more.
Thy mother felt more than a mother's pain, and yet brought forth less than a mother's hope, to wit, an indigested and deformed lump.
Last one. Let's go. Sarah, Jeremiah, and Ben, and then we'll have Peter and Lynn. Go ahead.
The owl shrieked at thy birth, an evil sign. Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou was born, to signify thou camest to bite the world.
And to end, Peter and Lynn, and then a round of applause for everyone.
Teeth hast thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou camest to bite the world.
Round of applause.